Hello everyone, this is Karthik, your trainer. First of all, thank you everyone for joining this session. I hope this will be an interesting session. So, can you guys confirm me like whether you can able to hear me or not? Am I audible? Perfect, thank you. You able to see my screen? Okay, thank you for the confirmation. So, first of all, as this course is going to be rolled out with 5 different applications in Fiori. So this is the first time we are rolling out such course where we would be doing some practical, apart from the theoretical knowledge, because we have already gained a lot of theoretical knowledge either in our last courses or or might be the other courses that we have rolled out previously. Now this course is mainly focused on how do you roll out some applications from scratch with 5 different scenarios. Those 5 different scenarios we have chosen based upon like the market standard, at the same time in the market demand. So there are 5 different routes of Fiori applications. Those 5 different routes were going to be touched and will be concluded into a single point. Like the first application we're going to talk about is World COVID-19 Dashboard. Now why we have chosen this application? Now, World COVID-19 Dashboard is one of the popular dashboard nowadays available in the market. Lot of companies has built different applications. So why can't we create something by our own using our own Fiori applications libraries? Now this application is basically provided like this application. The main agenda of choosing this application is like it is having some endpoint, some APIs are there available in the market which is publicly available. Like anybody can go and find out some APIs. Let's say an example, this is an API. Now this API is not a OData service. Like just to show you, in case you got an opportunity to work some application which doesn't have an OData service, you need to consume some external APIs. It might be a SuccessFactor API, it might be a SharePoint API, it might be your, let's say any XYZ, any third-party API. How do you deal with that? That is not a OData service. So that is where the interesting part of this course. Like this is going to be touched upon some areas which would be really niche, and you need to got some opportunity. Like definitely will be come across some sort of opportunities to include such API in your application. So just going to show you, if you got such APIs to integrate in your application and build some application, how do you deal with that? So today in the first class, the plan is we will build one application from scratch. In that application, we are going to use SAP Business Application Studio. We are not going to touch the backend server right now, like the backend OData service we are not going to consume for this particular application. We are going to consume the API. The API, it is market available without any cost, without any authentication. You can hit and get the data. These are the 2 APIs we are going to consume. One API is basically gives you a total overview record of COVID-19 across the world. Like this is the API. If you see this API, if I hit this API, what it will do is it will give you some information like how many total cases are available, out of that how many recovered and how many deaths. This is one service which is giving you a data in a JSON format, and the other service that I just now shown, that is basically country specific data. Like XYZ, any country if you consider, like if you take USA, India, any other countries, what is basically the total cases, total death cases, recovered, active, critical, those informations are showing it here. So by consuming these 2 API, we are going to build some wonderful dashboard. Now let's build the application. Now where will you build the application? we have choose to build the application in Business Application Studio. Now you'd be asking, why Business Application Studio? Why don't you use some other IDE like Web IDE? We are having local Web IDE, we are having Visual Studio Code. So many things are available nowadays to build a Fiori based application, right? Now questioning to this, like why Business Application Studio? Because as everybody knows, like this Business Application Studio is the IDE which SAP is promoting the most nowadays, because the journey of SAP also coming towards kind of a multi-target based application, like a Cloud Foundry based tenant. They are going to push everything. Like if you are aware of the cloud platform process, so in the SAP cloud platform, it is clearly mentioned, like the BTP trial account, whatever we used to have it. In the BTP trial account, nowadays we are having the Cloud Foundry as a default sub account. Previously we used to have new sub account, right? Now why they have came up with Cloud Foundry sub account? Because that is what the journey is moving towards multi-target tenants. Like you should not be constrained to your own particular region. It should be multi-target. Like it should be multi-environment. That is the concept is SAP also taking forward. So now to achieve that, SAP Web ID is still there. SAP Web ID can be used. But why Business Application Studio? Because Business Application Studio, it is having such sort of features which would be much more appreciated. It will be much more I think I can say, like in compared to Web ID, it's much better, and you should also know about it. Because if you are comfortable in Web ID and if you keep on working in Web ID, it will be a problem. So let's do something different from your regular things. Let's build something in Business Application Studio, learn it, because that should be the near future. Now if you ask me what sort of advantage you can see it here, I can see the advantages like in Business Application Studio, you can see your backend connectivity, you can debug it here, you can like create your own DB here. There are so many plugins are available. There are MDK also being touched upon here. So few things are similar to Web ID, few things are enhanced from the Web ID and keep it here. For that reason, and we are going to learn something new. With that particular reason, we are going to do your development, all the developments in Business Application Studio. Now the first thing you'd be asking me, okay, you got me the APIs. Now how do you find those APIs? Like is it any website is available to find those APIs, or how do you directly get this API? Now answering to this question, there is basically a website which is built in UI5 only. Let me show you the application. So if you search in internet UI5 COVID-19 application, so this is the link of an application which is publicly available without any sort of authentication. You can go and you can see this record about your COVID-19 in this application. I'll ping up the application link here in the chat. Anybody can open this, and if you open this application, what you can see here, you can see the detailed dashboard about this application with a COVID data, like it is showing you COVID-19 around the world. These are the cases. These are the total cases of total cases. Out of that, this is death cases and this is recovered cases, right? And similarly, you can have a graphical view as well, where you're displaying some sort of informations. You can also have a country specific data, each country what is basically showing. So this is basically on dashboard. Now how do you find the API from this application? It's a very simple rule in any application. If you wanted to understand the backend services called, you just right click on that and click on inspect. What you should do, right click on your screen and click on inspect, like you are opening the developer console, right? Once you opening up the developer console, go to the network tab and just refresh the application to understand what are the services or what are the APIs it is calling to get the data, right? Now if you see, it is called something called all. Now go there, go to the header section. See, this is the API it is called, and if you wanted to see what is the response is coming up to this call, you can see in the response tab, but it is not showing anything here. So what I can do is I can copy this and I can paste it on the browser. Once I paste it on the browser, I can see the records are coming here in this API. So this is one of the API I can consume, right? The other one, see the countries. So countries is the other API that is used in this application. So this is how we have fetched out the APIs. Now building the application from scratch, that will be building in our own fashion. So, but for your information, this is also an application built in UI5 only. Okay. So this is how you can get the APIs. So let's start the application. So our plan is to complete the application and deploy it into the Fiori Launchpad and have a tile to view the application. So we are going to use some sort of rich user experience, like to give you a better look and feel. We would be using some CSS also. If some of the companies are still following the CSS concept and try to make the application much more rich in experience, for that reason we'll be using CSS also in the application. If somebody is not interested in CSS, ignore that. You just wanted to, you are liking the normal look and feel of SAP, okay, and go ahead with that. And if somebody is interested to have a look and feel wise, a dashboard means it has to be glossy, it has to be a good look and feel, then you can also use those CSS. So the application, whatever we are going to build is, we're going to start here now in the SAP Business Application Studio. Now, as you are not consuming any sort of APIs from our backend server, I'm not talking much about the backend server configuration, like how do you connect to our S4HANA system given by Zapier. Those sort of things you're not clearing right now. That we'll be clearing in our next class. The next class in the sense in the next week class. So this week majorly planned to build two different templates, like a template whatever just now I shown you, like using the COVID-19 dashboard, and another sort of template. So like one dashboard in two different views. One application will be deployed to our ABAP repository in the backend system of S4HANA and configure as a Fiori Launchpad tile. Another application in tomorrow's class we are going to deploy into cloud. Actually, we are going to deploy into your SAP Cloud Platform as a multi-target application, as a Cloud Foundry application. Because that thing also you should learn it. You should know that, right? Because that is also recently evolved and it is also very high demand in the market. So one application deploying it to ABAP repository, another application deploying it to cloud platform. So these two routes we are going to cover in this week. So let's start it. So any doubts till now? Okay, what do you mean by multi-target application? Is multi-target application just for a small sake of information? Like multi-target means, let's say you are building nowadays in UI5 one application, and each application is having their own UI module inside it. As an example, if I wanted to explain you, like there is an application called COVID-19 dashboard. Now if you create the application in web ID, what it will happen, it will have their web app folder. You will be having inside the web app folder view, controller, all other files, folders, and you will deploy the application. Now here in multi-target application, you can create basically different UI module inside a single app. Like as an example, like you can create a project. Inside the project you can create multiple module, like let's say one module for COVID-19, one module for let's say XYZ process, one module for sales order process. So one single application can be having multiple target or multiple module, and those module one module you can deploy to ABAP repository, one module you can deploy into cloud. So the target of the application to deploy it would be different, you can choose it. So those sort of feature is available in the multi-target. Like it is not constant. Like I'll give you an example. If you build an application in Web ID, tell me one thing, you will be deploying it. Now once you deploy it, either you will deploy into cloud or you will be deploying into your ABAP repository. But this always contains the single UI, right? But here you can choose different modules to be included in the application. So when I'll be creating the application, a multi-target application, then I'll explain much in detail what are the things and how it is different in tomorrow's class. Okay. So let's start now. So if you open up your business application studio, inside the welcome page, you would be having 4 options. Start from a template, clone from a Git repository, import and file and folders. Now let's start from the template. Once you click on start from template, it should open up a page like this. Now here we are going to create a project which is basically a UI5 Fiori based project. So I'll be selecting, since the multi-target is another application option is there. We are not going to choose it right now here. We are going to choose, let's say, a Fiori based application. I'll select that. I'll go to start. Once I select the Fiori based application, there are some sort of informations I need to give it here, like what should be the type of the application, either a Fiori element based application or a freestyle app. So we are going to build a custom Fiori application from a scratch with a freestyle mode. Let's choose a freestyle template. Now once you choose a freestyle, it would be giving you some template like work list details and the SAP UI5 raw template. Like I'll be using this responsive raw template and build my application from scratch. Click on next. Now the data source. Now when you come to this data source option, what sort of sources of your data? Like right now I don't have any sources apart from those API, right? That means I'm not going to call any OData service. I'm not going to consume any business API from SAP. I'm not going to call any SAP project. I'm not going to upload any metadata also. So I'll be giving none as a data source here, because those sort of APIs are not hosted in any specific server to be configured right now. So I'll click on next. Now let's give the name of the view. I'll keep as a view 1. Click on next. Here I need to give the project details, right? Like what is your project name, what is your project title, what is your namespace, the description of the project, the UI5 version that you are choosing it, all informations to be given it here. Okay, now let's do it. Like I'll be creating an application with a name of let's say Z. It is a Z application, Z COVID-19 dashboard. So now if you see, if I give it a capital letter in the module name, it always creates a problem, right? See this? It is basically coming in like capital letters are not allowed or not accepted here. So what will I do is I'll change it to small case Z COVID-19 underscore dashboard. Now once you give the name, you can give it like COVID-19 dashboard. Namespace you can give or you can ignore it also. I'm giving a com.sap as a namespace. Namespace is basically the unique identifier of your application. Now description, you can give it a Fiori application on world COVID-19 report. Now the folder path of the application, let's under the project folder. Now here is the most important thing. What is the SAP UI5 version? Like whenever you are going to deploy any application to your ABAP repository, you should always know about what is your latest UI5 version of your server. Based on that, you should always choose the minimum SAP UI5 version of your application. Let's say in this I'm choosing a server as 1. Let's say I'll use the minimal version, not the highest version. So I'll choose it something as 1.7 1.35. I just choosing this because our S4HANA server with the Fiori Launchpad of like Fiori Launchpad, this version is good to go. Now 1.7, 1.35 is the UI5 version I have chosen. Now I'm just giving all these things as a no and click on finish. Now once you create any project, at the time what it will do in Business Application Studio is it will always just install sort of dependencies inside your application, like the node modules and everything. So if you see like installing the dependencies, now when I create the application, when it is completely created, then we can find out the application available on this project workspace. You can see the application Z COVID-19 dashboard. It got created. See this? This is the application Z COVID-19 underscore dashboard. Now once you open the application, if you go inside the application, there is a two things is there. There is a web app folder, which is a common thing that we are already aware of it from a web ID perspective. This folder contains the different like controller, CSS, IITN, model, test, utils, view, and all those things. And the other one is a node modules. Node module contains the different node related libraries. Why node module installed? Because whenever you will be deploying the applications to your ABAP repository or your cloud platform, everything is working based on some command. Those commands are powered by the npm node modules. Okay, for that it is installing this. But whenever you will be deploying the application to your backend server, this node modules will not be deployed. It will be only deployed your core application web app folder. Okay, if you are assuming like why these node modules, it will be deployed into your ABAP repository as a BSP application. No, it will not deploy like that. It will just deploy the web app folder. Okay, as this entire thing would be worked with the terminal based and also by some command. Those commands are powered by Node.js. That's what it is. Node modules is getting installed inside the application when you create that. Right now, how do you run the application here in Business Application Studio? This is your application. This is your web app folder. Right click on the web app folder. Go to the preview application. Once you click on the preview application, there is an option to run the index.html file. The third option is start the FLP no run with the index.html file. Just click on the index.html file. What it will do? It will execute your application and it will start the application on the local browser. So if you see, this is the application is getting started in my next tab, which is called as COVID-19 dashboard. And here you will get the raw and the basic template once you created the application from Business Application Studio. One thing, it should be a bit slower because as this tool is very powerful tool and it used to consume more memory. So at the time of developing it, you need to have some sort of patience because it is cloud tool, right? So it will give you the same experience of Visual Studio Code, because our Business Application Studio is nothing but the Visual Studio Code enhance mode only. All sort of features, all sort of options you'll be having in Visual Studio Code also, right? So now if you see, this is the application I have created and it got basically the output like this, COVID-19 dashboard with the page. The entire page is blank right now. Now the first thing is we are going to start building the application. Now while building the application, like always think in your mind as a developer perspective, how should be the look and feel of the application? How do you build it? So if you wanted to build this application, so before building it on the real time, you should definitely do some sketch or some sort of do some experiment. Okay, how the look and feel would be like this. Some brainstorming session should be there, right? On the look and feel part, on the user experience part of the application. So if you wanted to do, let's understand like how do you build the application. We have just now seen it, right? One application as a reference. Now if you want to build the application here in your Business Application Studio, how should be the look and feel? So we are just going to create some just dummy sketch in Paint. Like this should be our application. This should be the page, first page. let's display some information at the top. Let's display something like here the world COVID-19 you can display, and here you can give some count. Let's say I'm giving world COVID-19. Then let me just give it dashboard, and let's say I can also make count here. Here I'll make the entire count. Let's say some number, right? 343000191. Let's say this is the count. Okay. And what is the plan is next is we'll show some tabs here, like the one we just now seen. Tab number 1 here. Let's say here we can show you. We can choose anything. We can either give it like the total cases. The one tab. The other tab should be your dates, or not separately like this. Or you can just think of like if you just wanted to give no cases, you can give it world. Then you can give it the other one. Let's say country specific, right? And you should also give one more tab called graphical view, graph. Now once somebody will click on world, you display basically some information as a tile. This is the total number of cases in world. This is the number of death cases in the world. This is the number of recovered case in the world. Now once you go to the country, at that time let's display as a table format, like how we just now seen a table format to display the record. And the third one, if you click on the graph, you will be get the basically a graphical view. Now coming to like this is basically one raw project or raw sketch that you have built. Now once you have this, now what is next is how do you build this application? Like how to frame this sort of look and feel. Now as you already aware of it, there is something available called SAP Demo Kit. In this demo kit, you will be definitely finding all of your like required templates, all of your required what will I say? Basically, if you wanted to have, so if you wanted to take a help of any UI control, like if you wanted to just see all the UI controls available in Fiori, those things you can go and find out in the demo kit. You can take a help on the demo kit to achieve your UI controls, which UI control to choose it, then how to write it. Those things also you can take a help from demo kit. We will just refer you this document because this particular link is very useful for all the development, because it always contains the all UI5 controls that is available in the market. So you need to go to this particular tool, and there is an option called samples. If you click on the samples, it will just give you all the UI control, UI5 control that is available for Fiori developments are would be coming on this left hand side. Now if you go and try to choose, like as per the design that you have created, the top part, how do you manage it? There is something called object header. Now if you choose this object header, what you can see, if you choose a dummy object header from here, what you can see it here is you can see the respective look and feel. There are so many object headers that are available, right? Object header, other stuff. Like it will be give you a look and feel like this. So to match to my experience, yes, I think that should be useful. This can be used here. Like if I go and try to display my world COVID-19 dashboard and the count, yes, I maybe use this particular control. Okay, so this is one of my choice. Now if you wanted to see the code, you can either see the code here. If you just click on this particular icon, there's a curly braces icon with the code option. If you click on this, what it should give it to you is it will give you the source code of this particular control to use it. So this is basically it gives you the source code also. So now either you can take the code and you can use it, or let's write the code directly on the application. So what will I do is, this is my view. I'm going to build the application right now here. Now I can see this is my cell, this is my pages, this is my content. So now I'll start writing the code. I'll explain the step. You guys start following it. So now once I open up the pages, page should be having a content open, content closed. Now what I should do is, inside the page content, what I just need is, I don't want this top header bar where it was showing, like the title of the particular page, like COVID-19 dashboard. I don't need that right now. So what will I do is, if I don't need that, there is a property available on the page, like that is called as a show header. Now show header is the property. If you make it as false, automatically your header would not be displayed anymore on your application. Now I made the header as false, so I don't need the header. Now I wanted to add one object header inside my application. How to write the code? Object header. Now object header is a property. It has some own sort of some properties. The property would be, let's say I'm giving responsive. There's a responsive property. I am making it as true. How do you find all these properties? All the properties can be found inside your SAP Demo Kit. If you go to here, if you see, this is the properties. Object header, number is a property, title is a property, number unit, class, all those things are available here, right? So those are the properties that you can choose it. So similarly, I'm also using it here. Responsive property. Let's say I'm giving an icon. So what icon I can give it? Icon in the sense there is something called SAP icons. So SAP icons. Once you give SAP icons as a search, it will give you the list of icons available for SAP, like the standard set of icons. You can choose any of the icons from there. Let me just open that, SAP icons. So SAP Icon Explorer is basically the name of SAP Icon Explorer is the name of your icon repository of SAP. There what you can do is, you can go and find out any icon that you need and you can get it. Just click on the Icon Explorer and it will just take you to a home page or like an application where you can see the list of icons available for UI5. Like as you just now see some applications, I just shown it here. It is basically showing some informations, right? So like the object header. So you can put your own icon, you can put your SAP icons, whatever you want to do, you can do it using this Icon Explorer. Like if you see here, there is no icon used, but I wanted to use an icon. So I'm opening the Icon Explorer here. In this Icon Explorer, you can see there are three options, right? SAP icons, SAP Fiori tools, and read more. So inside the SAP Icon Explorer, what you should do is, you should go inside the SAP icons. In that SAP icons, you will find the list of icons available for your development. Okay, so like you can see here, so many things are available. Now I'm expecting something called world. See, this is the globe icon I need. I click on this globe icon, it will give you the code for that icon. Now this is my code for the icon. If I want to use it in my application, just copy it from here. Go to your Fiori application that you're building it, icon, just paste that icon. Then what should be the thing? It should be, let's say, title. Now I'm giving the title as World COVID-19, or let's say give me like this, COVID-19 around the world in real time, right? Now the second thing is there's one more property called number. I wanted to display numbers also. Now as of now I'll be displaying some dummy numbers, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. I'll change it after once I call the API. number is called, then I'm giving, let's say, number unit. There is one more property, but number unit can be used. Number unit basically used, if you see the view, this is number unit, but I don't need a number unit. You can consider, or if you don't want to consider, that is also okay. So now let's say give any other property to use. Icon is there, title is there, number is there. Now let me give the number unit also for so just to show you, number unit, this should be, let's say I'm giving it dates around the world. Now number unit, once I give it, now this number unit, what you see, it is having some different state. If you wanted to show in a red color, then what you can do is you can use that state. That is called number state. Now this number state, it can be error, it can be success, it can be a warning. I'm giving date, that's what I'm giving error as a state. Okay. Now I'll be using some standard class of SAP UI5 to make the responsive design. Let me just use it, SAP UI. So you can find it here also, the classes and whatever I'm talking about, everything you can find it here as well, like in your demo kit. Like this is the class that I'm going to use it. This class is basically to be given on the responsive padding or responsive like margin. If you want to give it, you can use this. So those responsive padding or margin classes also available inside your demo kit. So let me give it SAP UI responsive. Then let me give it padding. I think this is the class. If you see the code also, yes, this is one, SAP UI5 responsive padding header. You can just use and copy it also, and you can paste it also. So now this is my object header started, right? Object header I have started. Now let me close the object header. Let me close the object header here. Now this is my object header. Now once I have the object header, let me refresh the application. Once you save it, automatically your application will be refreshed here. Okay, so now coming back, so what are the things we have used in this? We have used basically the responsive. So responsive true, why we are using responsive equals to true? Because the application, the UI5 object header that you are going to use it, if you give responsive equals to true, automatically it will change based on the mobile phone or tablet or desktop. Now icon is basically to have the icon there. This is the icon. For this icon I have used it. Now title, why I have used? Title I have used for displaying this title, right? Now what is next? Number. Why I have used number? Number I have used only to be displayed some sort of numbers. Now why I have used number unit? See, number unit is showing because it is basically one description about the number. Like in the actual cases, if you're displaying some sales order, let's say, okay, sales order would be having some amount, right? So that invoice amount with some currency should be there, right? Like it should be INR, it should be USD, it should be XYZ, anything. So that's what it is, number unit. Now number unit, once I use it, it is having three different state of displaying it. Like dates around the world, this is the number unit text I have given, right? Now I have chosen the state as error. Now if I give this as success, now if I refresh the application, what it will do is that part, that the whatever is written on the like number unit, that should be in the green color. Like that state defines the color, right? If it is an error, it should be displayed as a red color. If it is a success, it should be displayed as a green color. If it is a warning, then it should be displayed as a amber color, right? So that is basically the use of your number unit here. Okay, and the class that you have used, that is for the basic responsiveness of your object header. So let me load the application. It is loading. So once it is loaded, you can see like I have changed the number state to success. So it should come as the green color of the number unit. Now, what is basically, can you explain the style with a header? Now, style with a header is basically what it is mean is like SAP is having some sort of their standard CSS. Inside the standard CSS, SAP UI responsive padding is one of the standard CSS available for SAP. Similarly, like once you give dash dash header, it is specifically saying like it should be applicable for the header part of this like your object header. As this tool is called object header, that is what this is a standard specific class available specifically for the object header. Now object header is having a class called as SAP responsive padding. So responsive padding is the actual class name that will give you a help of basically get a padding inside your application. See, it is not here. There is some padding is maintained from the bottom, from the left, from the right, from the top. So this is basically due to the class that you are using it. And this particular UI5 control also builds such a manner, the standard control, it is having some sort of like inside there are so many libraries or so many CSS they have used to make it responsive. So now if you see, it become completely green, right? Now if I give it warning as a state, then it should be completely amber color. So this is how it generally works. Now I'm changing it to error. Now what is my next need? See, I'm not saving it also, but automatically it got saved inside. You need not to press also Control S. See, it automatically got saved and it is automatically refreshing in the screen. Now any other doubts? Like, what is the floor plan selected in the beginning of the creation? The floor plan, it was created, it is basically a empty style, freestyle application. There is no, this is not a SAP Fiori element based application. Okay, Nicole, when you try to preview the application, nothing is happening. I think you might have followed the step that I have given it here. Like you might have definitely click on the web app folder and then right click on the web app folder and preview it, right? Is that still not happening for you? Just check it once. So one thing, just you need to just right click on the web app folder. Once you right click on the web app folder, then you should get an option to preview it, and like web app folder, right click on the web app folder, click on the preview application. Once you click on the preview application, then you should give it this one, start no FLP Fiori run open index.html. This is the one you should click. Just try that if it works. Just check your console, Nicole, you are getting some sort of errors or not. And if you're getting an error, let me know. So there's a question, can we use a different number state to title? Different number state to title and different okay, can you give different number state to title and different to number? See, no, it is not applicable. That you need to always follow the standard. It is not there. Only it is the number state is basically only for the number unit that you are using it. It is not for the title. So so this is basically become your object header. Now once you have the object header, what is our design says? In our design we have expected to put some tabs below that, right? These tabs, how do you achieve those tabs? Now to achieve those tabs, what you basically supposed to do is, you should choose one specific library that is called as icon tab bar. Let me show you that. You can either choose it from here also. Like if you see any of the object header, you can choose it from here also. If you see, we wanted to give the experience something like the already one available template in the SAP Demo Kit. Similarly, we can also create the template like the object header we have used. This is the object header with an icon, right? Now, instead of that, what we're going to use it, we're going to choose one more with a icon tab bar options available inside that. See this? There are so many tabs are available. This is what the exact template match for our design. Here it should be in the object header should be the upper part where it is displaying the icon, it is displaying the name, it is displaying basically the number with number unit. Now what are the things also you can put it? You can also put some description here like this. You can put some different options like product ID, manufacturer, category, this. So all those things also you can use, all the attributes also you can able to use it inside your application. And also have them sort of tabs here. This tab is attachment tab. Similarly, we'll be using some tabs. Okay. So this is how you have to use it. So now, if you wanted to just have this particular template ready-madely used, you can go inside the code and use it. Or let me test. I'll be using up to what it is required inside the in this template. I'll not be using the entire things because that will not match with our OData service, sorry, our API that is available. We'll be using the minimal stuff. But if you wanted to include so many things, you can refer this specific design and you can choose it. Now, how do you get your this is the object header, right? If you see the source code, you can get more detail about idea about it. What are the different sort of your properties that are available inside this? See, this is the one I'm talking about. Object header, ID, responsive. Then you have the icon. Then you have different attribute you can use it. One attribute for product, one attribute for manufacturer, one attribute for category, one attribute for weight per unit. So similarly, down there you are having something called header container. Now inside the header container you can put the icon tab bar. If you wanted to get the tab inside the object header, what is the best thing is required is you should give the required property in the object header, and whatever the attributes you want to include it. After that, you should definitely put this header container. If you use this header container, you will be able to get the icon tabs, the tab we are talking about. Now, how do you include these things inside your application? The very simple thing is go inside your app. Now, this is the object header that you have used, right? Object header starts here, object header end here. Now, what you should do is in between the object header, it is started here, it is closing here. Now, in between the opening tag and the closing tag, you should include that header container. So you just get that. If you just give the header container, so what it will do is basically it will just header container, open it and close it. Similarly, and you can put all of your code inside that. This is the header container, open and close. Now if you see how they have used it, you should use the icon tab bar. This is the icon tab bar. Now this icon tab bar you should use inside the header container. Understand this point. This is a header container. This is basically a header container starts. Here the header container ends. Now this icon tab bar is basically inside this header container. You should open it and close it here like this. Now let me just show you. So this is my header container open and closed. Inside this, I should use icon tab bar. Now once I open icon tab bar and I'm closing the icon tab bar, right? Now inside the icon tab bar, if you see how to close it, sorry, there's a slash to close it. Yeah. Now icon tab bar open and icon tab bar closed. Now once I give an icon tab bar open and close, inside the icon tab bar I should definitely give some properties like what are the icon tab bar's name, what are the class. Then we should put different items to the icon tab bar, because icon tab bar, if you see one icon, how the icon tab bars look, one icon tab bar is having multiple icon tab filters. This is how in UI5 it works, right? See this icon tab bar having its ID, selected key, uppercase, true or not. So what are the things? Selected key means if you specifically select any item, so that particular would be selected key. Let me show you. Like you can include multiple items inside the icon tab bar. So let me just include the items and show you first. Then I'll show you how do you basically give the selected ID and all. So let me give an ID. I'm giving as ID icon tab ID. Then you should give us one more property called selected key. You can give it as a blank one as of now, because I'll be giving the by default the first one as selected. Uppercase is basically nothing but if you wanted to have the text always in upper cases, you need to just make it true. Okay, and there is a class, standard class is available. That standard class, don't like, you always try to use the standard class what SAP has given. Otherwise it will be having a problem. Like you might have break out the complete responsiveness. This class is basically UI responsive content padding. Inside the content there will be responsive padding would be there. Now, okay, I think tab bar, it is also given me one. See this, it is given basically one reference like icon tab bar name. You need to give it properly. You can also choose it from here. This is the name. Header container, this is the name. Icon tab bar open, icon tab bar closed. Now icon tab bar, inside the icon tab bar, what you can do is, see icon tab bar always, this is the tab. Like this is basically your, inside the tab you should be having different items. How? Items would be given here. Items open, items closed. Now in this icon tab bar items, you should include multiple icons like icon tab bar. So it should be icon tab filter, right? Icon tab filter open, icon tab filter closed. Close it. So that should be first icon tab filter. Similarly, I'm giving 3 different icon tabs filter as per our requirement. Now I'm giving basically inside the icon tab filter, I'll give some text and show you. Let's say here I'm giving world. Next one I'm giving here, let's say, let me give it something called as countries, and the third one let me give as you can give graph. Now see this, each and every icon tab filter we should be having some key. Let's say key equals to 1. Now key is equals to 2. This is the unique key for each your items. Now if you give selected key 1, this should be selected. If you give it 2, that should be by default selected. Let me show you how. See this, it got automatically came world, countries and graph. Now first one is selected, right? I will be giving selected key as 2. Now if I give selected key as 2, then this tab would be always open by default, like this country tab. See, this country tab is by default open. This is the graph tab. Now this is how you can create basically your template properly. Now this is only one thing I have given. This is basically the text. Now if you wanted to have some icon with text, how do you do it? You can choose any icon from here. Like let's say global, you can choose this particular icon. Go to the SAP Icon Explorer. Choose any of the icon that you like. I choose this one. Copy this particular icon from here and give it here. This is the first icon. Now countries. So find out country. I can use this one. Let's copy this and paste this icon as well. And graph. Let's search something called graph. Let's say chart. I'll search something called chart. Yeah. So this is the chart, right? Now I'll be using this particular your icon. Let me copy this icon and paste it here as an icon. Now once you do that, now what you can see is in your application, all the graphs and charts are available right now. Right? There are three options: world, countries, and graph. Now what you can do is these three options you have given. Now each content wise you can put your own stuff. Like inside the world you want to display something, inside the countries you'll be displaying something, inside the graph you'll be displaying something. Right? This is how you'll be building it. Now once I go, now if I want to put anything inside this particular tab, then you should use this particular space to keep your whatever the items to be displayed. So as per our design, we would be putting some small tiles like this. How do you find tiles? Always you go and search something called generic tile. Once you go inside the generic tile and find out some tiles like this, you can see there are so many tiles are available, right? Like KPI tile, monitor tile, so many tiles are available. We can choose any of the tile. So let me just choose anything, something like this tile. Okay. Now let me show you how do you make this tile. If you want to see the source code, you can check the source code. These tiles are called as a generic tile. Okay. Let me make the tile. Then I'll explain each and every individual property. What is the use of that? So give it generic tile. Okay. And give some sort of header. Header is the name of like what is the tile name, you can give it. So generic tile open I have given, and I am giving close also. See, opened and closed. Now generic tile opened and closed. Now you should give the header. The header should be, let's say I'm giving is COVID-19 cases. Generic tile header. Then let me give it there is something called sub header. All these properties again you can go and you can find out from here each and every individual property of your UI control. You can find out from the source code also. You can check it if you wanted to see, like this is the generic tile. See, this is how it looks like generic tile. This is also having some standard classes like tiny margin begin. Tiny margin begin used for what? Like if you want to get some margin from the beginning, like from the initial state, from the top, means from the top if you want to get some margin. Okay, like this is the header. See, this is the header is the property, subheader is the property, right? And then basically press is one of the property. If you want to hit that particular tile to fire some event, that time you can use this press event. Now this is basically the generic tile. Inside that you can see the tile content. What should be displayed inside the content? Like if you wanted to display anything inside the content, like this is showing inside the content, right? The number, the other stuffs. So those things are coming a part of your tile content. Now tile content, you can give it different type of tile content. It might be a numeric type tile content. It should be image tile content. So based on your choice, you'll be choosing it. So numeric tile content means it should be displaying some numeric value, right? With some So these are the things, whatever you are seeing it, that is just all standard sort of your all the standard sort of control and all the standard properties. You should not use dynamically, or like you should not use anything apart from the standard one. Like here you can see like the header is the standard parameter. You cannot put H as a capital, right? This is the header. So now if you choose a tile content, then the tile content, inside the tile content, numeric tile content, you need supposed to use it. So either you can directly use it from here like this, or you can directly just make your tile, generate tile directly here. So let me just use it and see what exactly how it is forming it. Let me explain you one by one. So what I had done is, here the generic tile that I have chosen it here is showing some default value 1.96 and all this thing. I'll do the data binding last. So I am forming it. So this is my first generic tile, and I'll be giving basically header as let's say I'll be giving as the first header should be COVID-19 cases. Now the subheader I'll be giving it something called let's say we can put so COVID-19 cases in the world. Okay, let me show you how it looks, then only you can get an idea. So if I give that tile, how the tiles is coming inside your application. Now once I refresh it, I'll go to the world. See this COVID-19 cases in the world, some number it is showing. Now these are the static numbers I have given. This euro, current, Qatar, even quarter is everything is basically the value, it is hard coded here. But you don't need this. If you don't need this, you can remove it. Okay, like footer here it is showing as current in quarter. So I'm just removing it. I'm giving some hard coded text as let's say real time. Okay, now let's say the record it is coming here 1.96, right? This 1.96 I'll be binding with the actual data coming from the API, right? That's what is a scale means. Scale means if you see like 1.96 what? 1.96 million, 1.96 let's say thousand, million, and all those things. Basically the scale. That scale you can keep anything. If it is a like you are giving as a million, means it is M. If you wanted to give K as, it will be 1000, like that. You need to just short of that particular like scale. And here if you see value color, what value color does? Value color is error, means it is in red color. Again it is, if I make it as success, it will be green color. Warning means amber color. Indicator is up, like you are giving a trend, like this value is indicating is up, it is always increasing. That's what up you have given. But if you remove this indicator up, or if you want to make it down, it will be as a down indicator. But if you remove it, then your indicator would be also automatically gone from there. Okay, now if you go there, now I have removed the indicator, you cannot see the indicator, right? That is how also you should do it. Now there is a currency I have given euro, but I don't need that, right? Because I need not to display that. I'll remove that also, unit. So now it should be much more clean with the specific data that I need. Now if you see here, I have given only COVID-19 cases in the world, 1.96 million real time. Okay, now similarly I'll be using two more tile. This is the first tile. I need two more tile here. I'll just copy that generic tile template and keep two more, and let me change the selected key as always one, because it should take always the first tab, right, to be opened. Now the generic tile, the second one, let me give some name as so first one I have given basically the name as COVID-19 cases in the world. Now this one I am giving is as death by COVID-19. Death by COVID-19. Just changing the header part and in the world, yeah. This one, let me just give it recovered by COVID-19 in the world. Okay. Now Let me now refresh this application. See, you can see three different tabs, three different tile automatically came here. Now three different tiles are basically having COVID-19 case, death cases, and recovered by cases. Now these are the static data. Right now it is running. We will be binding with the actual data. Okay. Now what is the next thing is, we should give also in the country section, we should also give some graphs also. Now what will I do is, I'll just create the skeleton. I'll put some actually table inside the countries. I'll put some graph inside here. Then we'll bind with the actual data. So let's try that. So I'll go to the country section. In the country section right now it is everything is blank, right? What you can do is, here in this section you can put one table. Now how to find a table from like your SAP Demo Kit? You already might have used table some of your applications. So this is called responsive table. The responsive table, once you go here and if you open up the particular column, so this is the table view, right, in SAP UI5. Now if you wanted to, let me just go to the code, but let me just show you how do you make a table here. So once you wanted to have a table, you always just, this is the table open and this is the table closed. Okay. Now inside the table there are so many things you can give it. You can give either basically an ID if you need to give it. Like let's say I'm giving table, country table. Okay. And now there is something called items, like for binding purpose, right? I'm not giving anything as of now binding. Now inside the table we have generally two sections. One is called column section. Columns are opened, columns are closed. One more section that is called your sales section, means the row part. One is a column, one other is basically row part. For that, as you're doing an items basically, so items are going to be your inside your row, right? So how many rows, basically how many items should be there. So you should give it items, open the items, close items, and inside the item you should have basically column list item. Like if you see any table, that's a simple thing actually. Similarly, how the table looks actually the same thing. Table, inside the table you should be having some columns. Inside the columns you should be having some items. So that is the standard of tables, right? That is only we are using it. So items, inside the items you should be having some column list item. Column list item. Now what basically column list item does, open up and close this. That's it. Now inside this you should be having your sales. Now this is the standard format of table, right? So table, you should be having the columns. Inside the columns you can give multiple columns, like column 1, column 2, like all those columns you can give it here. Column opened, column closed. So similarly you can add multiple columns inside this, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this, and you can give any column name. Let's say I'm giving a column name text. I'm giving I can add some height, I can add some width, I can add some alignment of the column. Let me add one particular column first. I'm giving a text of the column as let's say I'm giving the text as cases. Now see this, I have given one column right now, and how this looks is, so see, this is basically the table is forming here. Let me just make it properly. So this is the table. There is no binding I have done. I have given columns here. Inside the column section I have given column started, column end, again column started, column end. Like I need 4 columns for this. I'll put 4 different text inside this. So number 1 would be cases, number 2 would be dates, number 3 should be, let's say, today dates, number 4 column, let me give something called recovered. So now if you see here, oh sorry, this should become text, this should be text, sorry, this should be text. Yeah, so there are 4 columns I have added, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, case dates, then today dates and recovered. Let's see whether it is reflecting here. See, it got reflected. This is the column is now forming. Now here inside the cell I have not given anything right now, right? Now in this cell, like 4 columns I have taken, then definitely 4 cells supposed to be there. Now all the cells I am right now going to display only text. I'll just show you one value, then hard coded one. Let's say okay, one more thing we also need to give it. We need to give the country as well, right? Because country specific data will be showing it, right? So let's say this one I'm going it here, India. The first value is India I've given for this column. I'm hard coding it right now. I'll change it just to show you. Just see this. I have given 5 columns here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and 5 specific text I have given. Let's see how it's coming. See, so this is my first. So this is my table, and in this table this is my first data. So, but the data would be coming dynamically based on your service call, right? The rows and the columns, this should be completely dynamic. You can make n number of rows here based on the data, how much data you are having it, that you can give it here. Okay, so this is basically this. I need basically these 5 columns and n number of rows. N number of rows will be coming. So now this is become. I can put some class also, CSS class if you wanted to see, and you can choose it from your template. If you have any standard class for this, like I can see there is something called. No, there is no standard class been used in this table also. So I'll keep it like this. Now we'll be binding the data at the last. Now this has become my table is created. Now I should be having the graph. Now if I wanted to have a graph, I should get the data first. Then only you can plan for graph. Now first of all, let's bind the data with the actual one from the API and write some code in the controller to get the data, because now the data are coming are all the data are static data. Now what will I do is I'll go to the controller of this application. Now once I go to the controller, this is the default controller, right? So whenever you open up any controller, then you can see there is an onInit function would be by default available. Now what will I do is whenever I open the application, I should first call these 2 service, this service and this service, to get the data. Then only I can proceed for other steps. Now let's call this service. How do you call it? Let me show you. So I am just writing on function here. This function should be having fn get all let's say fn, let me give it COVID report. Okay, so this should be one service call to find the all list of, like I'll be calling this API from here. Now how do you call it? Now see the format. So generally in OData service there is a different format to call an OData service, right? Now when you call an API, the format is basically a bit different. It should be an AJAX call, because you don't know, it is not an OData API. This is basically a normal API. It is not a OData service first of all. So you should be calling with an Ajax call. What is an Ajax call? Ajax call is basically a process, or it is basically some JavaScript code which will call any endpoint. Like it is basically how you used to call an OData service, no, in UI5. Similar fashion, but the coding is bit different here in compared to the normal OData service. Only difference is I'll show you. How will you call is there is something, the format is like this: dollar dot Ajax, then you give and open up the bracket, curly braces open and closed, then you should give here like what is the type of your service call. Let's say type is equals to get call. Then you should give the URL, which URL will be calling. Like I want to call this URL. Then you should give a data type. Okay, data type should be JSON. Okay, and now there are two things. One is called success, one function with a result variable, and one more is error. Same thing. Like this is the standard one. If you don't want to give error, that is also okay. But this is the standard. This is the format. That's it. This is to call an Ajax. You should give it the URL that you are giving it. You are giving the type. Now, if you wanted to add some authentication, then some header parameter will be passed. But this service doesn't have any authentication process. This is a default service which without any authentication it will work. If you wanted to add some authentication, then there will be something called header, and inside this header you should be using something called barrier authentication, basic authentication, user ID, password. But that is not required in our case because this service does not require any sort of authentication. Now success, once it is come to the success call, let me just put something alert as success. Okay. Now try it. Now tell me one thing. Whenever any application work in UI5, this onInit method will be initially called. Now once you call this onInit method, then this particular service supposed to call. Then what will I do is inside the onInit method, I will just call this application, call this function from here. So this dot is the function name. So this become this particular function when it will be calling whenever the onInit is loaded. So now let me load the application and see whether the data are coming anything or not. See this? It went to the success call. That means the API got called and it went to the success call. Now let's see how the data are there. Okay. So what I do is for the reference of our this, I will take one more variable called OData equals to this. This you already know in UI5. Taking a variable. Now what will I do is I'll be consuming this particular data into a model. I'll consume this data inside a model. Like how do you create a model? It's a very simple thing. Like variable, let's say I am creating something called as a COVID report model. Variable O COVID report model. How do you just create a model? SAP, or you can just define at the top section. It is always better to define it. You're defining the model here. SAP /UI/model. Guys, just give me 1 minute. I think the internet got changed here. Just 1 second. Guys, just can you please confirm me once whether you can able to hear me properly now? Am I audible? Call the function COVID report. Can you hear me? Yeah. So what basically you're trying to do is here, like is on init is the method. This method is it's a by default method available in any controller in UI5. Right. Now what we're trying to do is we are going to call one API called as this. This get the all details. Initially when the application load, that is our motto. Get that particular data loaded. Okay. Now what you do is so once you call this particular function, this function will basically hit as a get call and gives the record to here. Now what will I do is I'll put a breakpoint and show you. So first of all, let me add it. sap.ui.model /json/json model. This is basically where you are defining your model at the top. Like next time onwards, you need not to use again sap.ui.model.json. So once you define at the top, use it. Now this is the one. So what will I do is here I will put always new JSON model, and inside the JSON model I'll put this data for time being just to see whether the data is there in the model or not. Then again you know what to do. That dot get view dot set data or set model. Which model you will be setting? This model to the view. Right? COVID report model is my actual view. Now what will I do is I'll put a breakpoint and try to show you first. Okay, if somebody is facing some error like cross error or something, for them you should open up your application in incognito Google disable mode, like web security disable mode. If you use Google Chrome web security disable mode, that will help your issue to resolve if somebody got the cross error. Now how do you open up? See this, how do you open up? How do you open up this? Basically, if somebody is getting okay, web security disable mode is not recommended, but this error you will not get once you deploy into your server. If somebody is facing that while testing in your locally, go to Control R. Once you go to Control R, then paste this and just try to hit it. Only change it the path of your Google Chrome. That's it. But generally I think you will not get the error of cross. I hope so, because this application I will also either get it if it is happening for you, then definitely this cross error also would be coming for me as well. But I don't think so you'll be getting this cross error for this API. Just check it, because Ajax call, if you're calling some API which is not trusted API, it might be getting cross. But once you deploy into your server, it will not be having any problem. Now let me go to the sources. Once I go to the sources, what I'm going to show you right now is whenever I call this application for the very first time, At that time, I wanted to show you how this is calling this endpoint, and once you call that endpoint, how basically this is coming, how the data is coming there. Then only thing what you can do is basically will be just binding the data inside the model that you have chosen. Okay, now so there are different tabs are available, right? If you already might be aware of it, like console is basically to view your errors and all. Network is basically to see the traces. Sources is basically to find out your source code. Let's say I have put a breakpoint in the success call. I'll just refresh my application and I'll try to get the data whenever it is going to the success call of my API. I'll also show you the network tab, because network tab is very important for any like development calling API and all. So it is called, see, it got to the success call. First check the network. Once you check the network, you can get to know the service is called with a response of 200, means it is success. Now if you see the result is a variable, it always contains the list of data that you are getting it. Now what you can do, if you want to do and debugging or you want to see the data, you always come to console. This is to clear the console. This is the button to clear the console. Once you clear the console, it will be completely vanished. Now you should put your data. See this is how it came. Cases, one object came from backend. Cases, this amount. This is the amount for death. This is the amount for recovered. What you have done then, just debug it. Next line, you have taken the data into the model called COVID report model and set the model to the view. Now this model contains the entire data. See this, go inside this OData. See, it got here. Now if I do the binding, property binding with this model, with these particular properties, then data will be there. Let me show you. Now this is my application. Go to the view. Now here I have hard coded the number of deaths. I am going to do the binding now. Model is a property binding greater than slash. What is the property? The property is deaths. I'll just put it deaths. So if I do that, if I save it, then the death is basically got binded. Now what next? We have basically death by, okay, here there are three things we have given, total cases. The value is 1.96 million, something we have given, no? Now here also bind it. Total case, okay, bind with this value, case. Right? Now bind with the property binding with the value. Should not use any hard coded value. Now you are binding with death field inside, displaying the death cases. Now again bind the other one. Recovered cases. Okay, now let's refresh the application. Once you refresh the application, it should contain the data, say the actual data, say 4440 million, 6000 million, 3776 million. And if you hover it, it is giving you the proper value. And this is where you are getting the actual value here. Now you'll be asking me a question, no, 60009 million is not the right scale, right? So this will be 1000, right? 600,000 or like, sorry, 600,000. You want to give it something like this. Now if you wanted to have some sort of scale, now if you wanted to just call basically, so this is basically your three data are came, but if you see the scale is not matching with this, right? Because if you see the date cases is so 60 lakh something. So it is not with matching with the scale. Now if you wanted to make a scale properly, you have to give a proper scale with a value. What you should do is, see, we are getting the data coming from backend with a random number, isn't it? This is a number it is coming. So what you can do, you can format the data to a specific what is a million, what is actual million actually. So that also you can do it. Now I'll show you one small thing. So let me go here. Instead of putting the result directly like this, what will I do? I'll format the data by creating one more object. Because what is the problem right now is, see, the problem right now is whatever the count it is showing with the scale is incorrect. This is not the right count of million. You should get a proper million values, right? Because you have given a scale as million. Now what I'm going to do is variable OOBJ. I will open up. What will I do is here, I will take three field specifically to bind these three data. Like the tile, it is having some data, right? I'll format this data and I'll bind with a new field. Instead of the field that I have used it here, recovered, date and cases, what will I do is I'll create see this cases, case one field, this is dates, another field, this is recovered, another field. Now I'm keeping three different fields, cases 1, date 1 and recovered 1. Why? Just to distinguish, because in this new values, new particular properties, I'll be formatting the data. What format I'll do? Whatever the count it is coming, so this count I will convert to a million value. This means what is a million? I'll convert that. Now you can find so many formatter like this, like JavaScript to convert number to million. Okay, see this. So many things are available. You can do some math calculation like this, and so this is the calculation. See, this is the calculation to convert any number to a million. So you'll be using that. And let me show you how you can do it. So first of all, these three should be coming. How the data is coming? Let's keep it exactly like this, because I'm not going to change this also. So result, how it was coming, result dot cases. Now in the date was coming as result dot dates, recovered was coming as result dot recovered, right? Now these three I will format the value to a million. See, this is basically, I was showing one code, right? Like to mathematical calculation to convert the things to number. The same I'll be apply here in this formatter. One second. Yeah, there are so many formatters there in SAP. You can use the standard also. I wanted to just show you something unique just to show you here. See, this is how for million, this is the one. This is the one for million. There are so many formatters are available, but here what you will do is, see this. I'll show you how to do it. So paste. I'll just paste that whatever I copied. Okay, let me write it also. So it should be like mathematical calculation math dot absolute, then the number value of result dot cases divided by, it is basically the total value divided by 1.0 e plus 6. This is the million calculation. See this. Just paste it. Why it is coming here? Okay, I think it's not getting copied. Okay, anyway, I'll just type it. So it is basically a calculation. So see, if you see the code math.abs number of level values then divided by 1.0e plus 6. What it is doing is actually the value that is coming from backend, it is converting the value to a number, then it is putting on mathematical calculation that math dot absolute value of that divided by 1.0. 1.0 means 0 is a 6 times 0, means it is the 10,000, it is dividing by 10,000. That is the formula it is applying in this. Sorry, 10, not 10,000, 10 lakh it is applying. 1 into 0 exponential 6 zeros, means it is a 10 lakhs. So that whatever the value it is coming, that value it is converting to a number. Once it is converting to a number, then it is basically, what it is doing is, it is basically dividing by 10, dividing by 10 lakh. That is what it is doing it. So this is the formula. Let me go here and just paste it. Instead of the level value, the cases that you are getting it. So this should be your entire million value, right? Now this should be applicable for death as well, applicable for recovered as well. Now what we will do is see the data how it is coming. I'll just refresh the application. I'll put a debugger. I'll show you first. So see this. So what I'm trying to do is here, I am just going to make a new object. Here, now see the object value. What it does is, so if I just see that, what you can see, it definitely convert your, what is the main agenda is here is basically to get the list of existing record, how it was, case, death, recovered, and one more, case 1, death 1, recovered 1, converting with a million value. See this is 444 million, this is 6 million, this is 376 million. That is how the intent was to do it. So now actually what is the intent is here, like we are basically having the case, death and recovered. The same case, death and recovered, we keep it as it is without any change. But we have kept one more variable, case 1, death 1 and recovered 1, just converting the value to a million value. Now this will be binded, case 1, death 1 and recovered 1 would be binded against all the tiles that we have. So now go back here, recovered 1, death 1 and case 1. Now save it and see in the application. So let's see. Okay, it is coming as 000. Okay, might be why it is coming as 000. Can anybody take a guess? See the code. What is the problem? I have binded with case 1, death 1 and recovered 1. But why it is showing as 000? Exactly. You have not given the model with the revised object. I have given still old one. That old one doesn't contain case 1, death 1 and recovered 1, right? Thank you. It is 444 million, 6.01 million, 376 million. So now what is basically done is, this is done. Now countries, what you will do? For countries, again similarly you will be calling one more main service, country service, and do the same operation. So similarly, one more service I'll call this dot. Let's say this time I'm giving a name as get function get country wise. Okay. Now it would be also same service call how we have called it here. Only thing what it will change is change the function name and the API. Apart from that, what you need extra? You don't need, I think you don't need to format anything right now. So only thing is you don't need sort of formatters and everything is removed. Then you should only just give a proper model name. This one COVID report model, except that country wise model. Perfect. Now this one to be set to the view. Now results is basically picking up all the value from backend. Set that here. Now what we have done, initially when the application load, it should call the COVID report service as well as the country-wise service. Country-wise service will call the list of countries, get the data in the result parameter and set to the data into this country-wise model. And this one will format the data and put in the COVID report model. Now what the binding we should do for country? We should bind the data inside the table. How do you bind it? It's aggregation binding. If you remember aggregation binding, model name greater than slash. Now once you give model name greater than slash, then what you should do is you should map upon all the values. Now you should know what values are coming from backend. Let me show you. This is how it is coming. So this is country is a property for displaying list of countries. So greater than country. This is one binding for country. Let me copy it for others also, then I'll change it accordingly. Now country is done. Cases. So cases is the field. Just map with that. What next? Date. Dates is the field. Map with that. Then today dates. Today dates, this is the field. Map with that as well. And the last one is recovered. Recovered is the field. Paste with that. Now save this changes. See your application. See, country, cases, dates, today dates, recovered, everything came up, right? So this application is having a dynamic record. All the country-wise data are displaying. If you want to include more columns, add one more column here and bind with the field. Today dates I have given, today case if you want to give it, whatever you want to give it. Everything add it, new column, new cell. That's it. So now world is done, countries are done. Now the pending thing is a graph one. So for any graphical views, what I should do? For any graphical views, you can use V's model, V's frame chart. There are so many graphs are available here. Like you want to just have on column chart, bar chart, pie chart, whatever you want to have it, you can get it. Now what we're going to do is in this, like we are going to use on column chart, like a chart like this, and bind our data accordingly and form the chart here. Okay. Now okay, anything wrong in the binding? Do you guys see anything wrong in the binding? Oh, today dates and recovered is not binded properly. Last two columns. That's what I'm saying. Today dates and recovered. Let's see the code. Today dates and recovered. Country wise model. What is the field name? Today dates and recovered. Let me refresh it one more time, just to be sure. Yeah, it is coming fine now. Might be it was not refreshed properly. So what we are going to do is this. So whenever you are going to include any graph, as you can see, like graphs are always powered by some other library that is called a Viz library. Now that Viz library always like you need to include inside your application to get the graph. So to get it, what you should do is first of all, like you should include all the Viz frame libraries inside your application. One by one will include the libraries. If you include for one library, like the library, if you want to use a graph, the Viz library need to be used. And if you use Viz library, you can use any type of graph. It is not specifically like this type of graph only can be used. It can be used for like other column chart, donut chart, pie chart, or line chart, whatever the chart you want to use it, irrespective of anything. But the main thing is you should be adding the libraries, which is very, very important inside your application. Now, how would you add any sort of libraries inside your application? Like if you go any of your application in SAP Demo Kit, then what you should do is you can have a look of the list of list of libraries are there available for this Viz and for this graph, that you can find it out. Let me show you first. One second. I will directly add it here because this SAP Demo Kit is taking so much time to load. What will I do is I'll show it here. So see this, how to include any libraries inside your application. First thing, sap.aim is the default library in my application. If I want to add anything, I need to give it as xmlns, then colon, any name you can give it. I'm giving as Viz. Now the library name is for Viz control sap.viz.ui5 controls. This is the name of your library to be included inside your application view to get the Viz chart. Now not only this, it has also two more sections. It is having Viz feed. So here controls dot common dot feeds, and we have one more called data set. Data. I'll tell you what is feed, what is data. No worries. I'll tell you. Viz.ui5.data. So Viz library need to be included inside your application whenever you are dealing with any sort of graph and chart inside Fiori. XMLNS Viz is basically the property. This is basically the feed is one more and data is one more. sap.viz.ui5 controls common feed and SAP Viz UI5 data. Now where will I use the chart? I'll use at the last one. Now see this. If I wanted to have a chart, what is important for a chart? For a chart, it is important to have build the chart like Viz is basically, and Viz frame. Viz is the library. Viz frame is basically the chart frame. I have opened it. I'm going to close it now. Viz frame open. views frame closed. Now inside the views frame open and closed, there are two things you need to take it. One is called as views data set, copy and close that views data set. And one more thing is views feed, like the one that you have used, right? Like we have added the library data and feed. So that two thing is very important in graph. I'll tell you what is the meaning of this and how to form any graph. See this. So if you see the standard code of any views frame, data and feed is the two most important section. Now what is basically data and what is basically feed? In the data you are defining it like what should be your measure, and what should be your dimension. Like if you're plotting any graph, the most important thing is what? Which axis you are doing and what value you are measuring it. So this is a data plotting, right? So that is called as a data set. What is a feed means? This feeding is basically pushing the data to your axis. Like this data you are going to measure, this data you are going to define it. Now feeding part is basically pushing the data to your axis. X-axis is this value, y-axis is this value. That is called feeding. Setting the data and feeding to the plotting onto the your axes. That is called feeding. Now if you see any of your standard code, this is a column chart, let's say. If you see any of your standard code, you can see that would be there in every chart, feeding the data and setting the data. Now inside the setting the data and feeding the data, you can choose multiple fields because you only know what particular things to be showed and what are the things to be considered as a data. That is completely up to you, right? Because if you want to, like in our cases, what you should do, country wise death versus recovered, you can display it. Like for this country, for US, how many deaths happened and how many recovered. This is how you can plot one graph, right? So this is how you can form one graph, and that graph can be built in anything, either a bar chart, either a column chart, either a line chart. So anything you can do it. So if you see the source code, whatever for any graph, see this views frame, data and feeding section. Now if I explain the data, see this carefully. What it is doing, ID of the views frame. UI config is Fiori. So this is applicant set is the standard parameter for configuration because this data, that particular views frame you are using for a Fiori application configuration. Height and width is basically the 100% height and 100% width. Views type is the most important property here. What is the type of your chart? Column chart, bar chart or pie chart? What chart it is? Here it is column chart. Now see the dataset section. Dataset section is having dimension and measure. Like what value to be measured. Measure can be anything. Dimension can be single, like country wise death versus recovered. So country become your dimension. Death versus recovered is your measuring parameter, right? How many death records, how many recovered cases. That should be a measure quantity. And the dimension it is, the plot should be on based on countries, right? And now feeding it, like the dimension wise you're feeding the value and measure wise you're feeding the value. That is what it is doing in this particular source code. Now I'll just use this. I just created the like base frame, like views frame, open close, data set is for that, feeding section is for that. Now I'll just put it here and again show you in our code how it will be. Now see this. Now once I go here in the views chart, first of all, what will I do? I don't need height is 100%. Height, let it be adjust automatically. Okay. Now see this. Important point is what I told you, data and feed section. Now data I told you to be measured country. Sorry, to be dimension is country. Measured total cases versus total recovered cases, or total death cases versus total recovered cases, something like that. Now data is a section. Like this record this week, sorry, this country, this like date or recovered cases, from where it will come? It will be coming data from some model, right? Which model to consider? That is basically the binding here. Like you have given the COVID report model and country-wise model. So this is the country-wise data are coming. So here similarly on aggregation binding you should do. That's it. Now what you should do is, what should be your dimension? Dimension parameters should be your country, because country base you are doing it. That is the base. Now country. Now what are the things you want to measure it? You want to measure, number one is basically the total cases. Any total cases is there? Total cases. This is a total cases. And I want to see the recovered also. So now this is my base country wise. I will check the case versus recovered. Case versus recovered. So I can get one clear cut view. In this country, this many cases happened, this many recovered. Okay. Now see this carefully. This part is very, very important. Now here I'll change it to country. Here I'll change it to total cases. And I'll change this into total recovered. Now country versus total case and total recovered. Now see this country, again you need to map it. Dimension, where it is dimension used? Here. Give the same name, country. Now measure, this is measure. Total cases. One more measure I have to use, because I will be measuring two parameters, not only single. Total case along with what I am using? Total recovered. Total recovered. So now my measure complete. Two measuring parameter, total case, total recovered against country. Now see that if anything comes. Looks like any error came or it is not loading. Okay, let's wait for some time. If in case any error comes, let's see that. So see that now we have given column as basically one graph type, right? Now you can give in different type also, but you should remember like column, column, bar and line are the three similar type of charts. Like if you only change the type of that graph, views type if you change, I think there is something wrong in this. It got some problem. Let me go to the view and see it one more time. Views frame. Okay. So views frame is started here, views frame is ending here, views feed is starting here, views feeding ending here, data set is starting here. Okay, this code is okay. I think here at the top might be need to just check it once. So XMLNS, the libraries is loaded properly or not. XMLNS :vs SAP UI5 is UI5 control. This is only I have used, right? Feeds and data. Anything I did mistake? Line number 12. Okay. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So then this is a mistake. So let's refresh the application one more time. Still any error? Let's see. Yeah, still something might be missed. Anything else? It is there. It is wrong. Do you feel? Okay, pages. Okay, so SAP V's UI5 controls common feed. Is this spelling you are saying? I think. Is anybody a specific line number? Oh, sorry. Yep. Thank you for the help. Let's see now. I'll just trigger it again. The application to load. It looks like there is some line number is missed again. Is it anything is showing XML is pass error inbuilt XML? SAP V's UI5 controls. SAP V's feeds. Oh, I got it. I think the mistake is here. It is not colon. It should be always dot. SAP V's dot feed, V's dot data. Yeah. Let's see now. On by hub. Okay, that's okay. Let's load this. So okay, once it is okay, duplicate ID has been used. Okay, so there is one more error. It is came because of here. If you see the feed, B's feed, access feed, both are same. You need to give a different ID. That is causing one more issue. So let's see now. Yeah. So now let's see. Okay. So let's see the graph. Yeah. So we got that the graph like with some value. The wall this is it is showing. So there is nothing, no values are showing. We will make that. So you can see like all the graphs are coming according to the value, and it is showing it here. India, this is the cases. This is USA cases, France cases, UK. Now if you just see the magic, I'll just change this graph type, this type from column to bar, and I'll show you. So always remember, like bar chart, column chart, and line chart are always three are same. Only need to change the views type. If you change the views type, then you are done. Okay, no error still. Okay, it's loading. So like this is the property views type, column, bar, and line. We can also show line also. Let's see the bar first. So see this, now bar chart would be loaded here. You can see that entire chart here. Now if you just change this bar to line, then it should automatically change to a line chart. Nothing to be changed. But these three are same type. Now, okay, let this load. Then one small thing, if somebody wants to have some value access wise data to be displayed or want to change the title of the graph, like you can see, this is how the line chart looks like. Now if somebody wants to show some data here or want to change this particular title or remove the title, anything's to be done, then there is something to be written on the code side. Let me show you. Now let me keep it for time being column. Or let me just keep it, yeah, let me keep it as column. Now see this, if you wanted to just modify the properties of this which chart, do one thing. Copy the ID from this, go to your controller, go inside this onInit controller, just write some code. See this, variable OVisFrame is equals to get the value, get that particular VisFrame by ID, this dot get view by ID. This is the VisFrame. Now you should add the properties. Set properties dot set vis properties. Now, okay. Now you just give different value parameters. There is something called plot area. Now you will be asking, where did you find this? Again, you will be there. It is already there in our demo kit. You can find it out. So plot area. Inside the plot area, what you can do is you can set. There are a couple of things you can set it here. A data level. Like if you wanted to show some data, every plot, you can make it true. Now see this plot area, this is one more. Let me just set as title. I'm giving visible. If I make it false, then title will be vanished. I'm giving true, and text of the title I'm giving as, let's say, COVID-19 total case versus recovered. Okay, so VisFrame, set Vis properties, plot area, into the plot area data label, visible equals to true, and title is make some title. Now let's see whether you can able to see the data label on every column and see the title or not inside the application. So the application is refreshing now. Let's reload this and check. Yeah, so now go to the graph. See this, value came here and the respective or title also came. So this is basically, you can just change any of your application to any sort of dimensions, bar, column chart, set country wise data, total data. Now this is basically one sample application that we have created. Now in this sample application, see, it is looking very good without using any sort of CSS, right? There is no CSS used. But first of all, let's deploy this application to our ABAP repository. Then we'll see like how it looks there. So if you wanted to just go to here in SAP Demo Kit, see this, in SAP Demo Kit, like whatever the properties are talking about it, those properties are not basically here available on the XML parameter. So if you see in demo kit, what is basically they used to do it, they can set those properties as a JSON file also. If you maintain a JSON file and bind that, that also would be okay. In XML you can set it, but the thing is generally why we not do, we used to put so many, like if you wanted to just have some color combinations, if you want to put, so many things are available, category access, dimension wise your icons and all, so those things are also, you can plot it here. That's why controller is best actually. If you see the code, if it is available in demo kit for anything, like for any of your V's chat, see this is your V's chart. In the V's chart, what they are doing it, they are basically plotting it. The plotting is one of the option. Label, value access, another option. For writing some formatter string and all, that's what I'm talking about it. Because if you wanted to make it in the controller, you can directly utilize the formatting options, and you can just specifically format, or just if you are getting the data from a model, you can bind it here also. So those options you will be getting properly here. So that should be one of the advantage here. Okay, and yeah. Okay, so somebody is saying like somebody's asked like, okay, only one dimension data is there. So similarly, like again, it is same. Like if you wanted to just make it value axis also, just take this value axis and keep it here, like this. Value axis, label visible true, label I did not give anything. Let's see this. And plotting for this, okay, plotting for that, actually if you wanted to have both for this one, right, it was just because as the count is very very high here, it is okay. For US it is not shown. Why? Okay, let me just make this a line chart. Okay, a bar chart. Let's see that. So it was not, as it is a very, like the thing is like the number is very very huge, right? So that's what it is not accommodating the space. So here you have a better space and you can able to display it properly. That is basically the thing. So now the thing is like once you have this, everything is created. Now how do you deploy this? See, let's understand this part as well. So this is your application. Where is the app? Here is the app, COVID-19 dashboard. Now the application you have built, web app folder, everything is good to go. Now see this. Right click of this project. How to deploy this? Right click of this project. First of all, then open it in terminal. You should open this application on your terminal. Once you open it, remember these two commands. The first command you should give is npm run deploy config. Npm run deploy dash config. This command will help you to collect all the information while deploying the project to the ABAP repository or Cloud Foundry. Like here today I'll be deploying this code to the ABAP repository. I'll select as ABAP. Now it is asking which destination to use. So the destination I am using it is for HANA. This is the destination we have configured. In your destination file, right? Just choose that file. Click on enter. Now what it is asking, destination is this. Okay. No, somebody said like destination was none. See, 1 minute, I think. Did I choose something wrong here? That's what you're saying? What is that? No. See, no. You're talking about destination was none at the time of creating the project. That is a data source. See, I am not consuming any data from the server, but I can deploy it, right? I can deploy in any of the server. So now what I supposed to do is I supposed to deploy the project with the BSP name. Now I'm giving the same name, the COVID-19 underscore dashboard. Now limited character we need to give. Okay, it is very big now. So what I supposed to give is the COVID-19 underscore dash package. You should already created a package. If you wanted to create a pack, if you don't have a package, go to this S4HANA system, log into this, go inside this, and then you open a T code SE80. From there you can create a package, or if you're having some already existing package also you can use it. Now if you see in SE80 there is an option called packages. So I already have a Fiori training packages created. I'll be consume the same. I'll paste it here. Transport request. So if you are deploying the application, you must be having a transport request. So I have created a transport request that can be find out in AC09T code. Go there, see the list of transport requests available. I am having already created for Fiori training. This is the transport request. Copy it, paste it here, enter. Description, you can give it world COVID-19 report. Now what it will do is it will try to accommodate all the information that you have given and try to build a package file and build the application for deployment. Now once you confirm for deployment, then only it will go and deploy it. So see this is your application, package, transport, description. Now the application is builded. How to push it to server? Now the last command is npm run deploy. Now if you click npm run deploy, what it will do is it will just go and push the application to the server. It is asking you a confirmation. But boss, you want to do it? Let's say yes. So deploy to ABAP repository with the BSP application name that we have given. It is going to deploy your code. So now, okay, it is deployed. So deployment is successful. What we can do is we can go to SE80 transaction and see whether the BSP application came here or not. It is properly available on that or not. Choose here as a BSP application, give the name and see. See, the application got deployed perfectly. Now what you should do is, once your application is deployed, the first thing you should do is basically configure the application to your Fiori Launchpad. Now this is my Fiori Launchpad. Okay. Now what I should do is, I should go to the Fiori Launchpad designer to configure this, right? Let me close the unwanted tabs from here. Yeah. Now, how do you find a Fiori Launchpad designer? Either you can go to the transaction lpd underscore cast and run it and get the URL, or you can check it from here also. Fiori Launchpad, let's say designer URL. You can get it anywhere. It is like the similar, only thing, this is a Launchpad designer URL. You just change the host and port with the Zapier host and port. So that become your client is, our client is 800. Sorry. Client is, if you don't give any client, it will take the default client itself. So this become my designer. So I'll give it FLP designer URL. Okay. Now, whenever you come to FLP designer URL, the first thing what you should do, set the TR. In this, whatever the changes you are going to do, it has to be captured properly. So here, customizing TR we have created, set that. Then what you should do, create a catalog. So might be if you are using for the very first time, so what you do is, here you need to give the title and ID of the catalog. Let's say I'm giving it COVID-19 dashboard Fiori or Karthik. Okay, just give any name, Z catalog underscore COVID-19 underscore dashboard. Okay, just remember this name, copy it somewhere. This is the catalog. Click on save. It will save the catalog. Right. Now give the title description of the catalog by choosing a static tile. Give it like my COVID-19 dashboard by Zapier. Okay, now let me give an icon, a dashboard icon, but here one problem is we didn't create any semantic object. Now what is the next process? Once you deploy the application, create the semantic object /n/ui2/acm obj, sorry, acm/obj. Excuse me. I think not this one. The same obj. So once you go to the semantic object, so the key code is /ui2/acm obj. This is the T code. Once you go there, just click on this edit button, then click a new entries, give it like Z COVID-19 underscore dashboard, give the name as COVID-19 dashboard, COVID-19 dashboard, and while saving this, it will ask you again TR. The TR is workbench TR. Capture it properly. Once you captured it, now refresh this application, this page, because semantic object you need to select here, right? Until unless you are not refreshing it, you won't be get the updated semantic object list. So this one, go again and select the title, and select the icon, select the C COVID-19 underscore dash action, you just give it display, click on save. Once it is saved, go to the target mapping, create a target mapping. Now go to the semantic object, say COVID COVID-19 underscore dashboard. Action is display. Now application always SAP Fiori app. You can give it World COVID-19 report URL. This part is very important. See this. Now I told you to remember one BSP application name. How to get the URL? Always remember you should go to SICF transaction and take the path. Give the service name here and execute it. Once you execute, oh sorry, this is a catalog one. Sorry, you need to give the you should give the BSP application name Z COVID-19 underscore dashboard. I think. What is the name? Yeah, Z COVID-19 underscore dash. So always give that BSP application name and execute it. Once you execute, double click on this. So this is the path. See, SAP BC BSP SAP slash, and this is the BSP application name. You need to concatenate both actually to get the actual path. So let me just show you. This is the path slash SAP BC UI5 issue UI5 SAP COVID-19 dash. And what is the ID? The ID is the ID that you have used inside your application. How do you find that? Go to the application folder. Go inside the web app folder. The namespace that you have given actually. Go to the component.js. And here you can find out com.sap. This one. This is your namespace. This become complete. Now that is done. URL ID given, semantic object given, application is configured. Now add the application to the group. Search something, some group, already created a group. Okay, let me check it. Fiori training. Fiori training by Karthik. There is a group. If it is not created group for you, you just create a group here, like giving some ID and title that you can give anytime. I'm adding this new application by searching it from the catalog list. This is the application. Just add it. Once you added it, what is the next step? You should assign the role. Go to /npfcg. Sorry, /npfcg. There is a role already created, so I'll be including. So this is a role already created. So for this, I'll be just including the application. How do you include it? Inside the menu, there's a transaction. Go to the tile catalog. Go to the list of catalog. And in this, find out the catalog by the name. This is the catalog. Added. Just click on OK. OK. So what it does is now, COVID-19 dashboard by Karthik, this particular catalog is added inside the role. Now what you should do is, you should go to the application and refresh. Go to the last Fiori training Karthik. So nothing came here. What you should do is, one time go to the edit mode and reset this. I might have added some personalization and all those things. Might be because of that it came. 1 minute. Still not yet came. The one I was planning to. Is it there? No, not this one. This is not the one. This is not the one I have given, right? I have given by Zapier or something. Let me check one more time. So what will I do is, I will either go and try to add it from here, just to see whether the catalog is there or not. No, it is not available or what? World COVID-19 report. Is this the one I have given? Let me see the catalog name. My COVID-19 dashboard. Okay. So is this added to the group properly? Let me see one more time. Yeah, that is added properly. My COVID-19 dashboard. Let me see the role part. I think role might be having some problem. Delete this node and re-edit. Tile catalog. Some application used in the catalog are not available in the system. That's it. Okay. Okay, so the application is added now. User. Yes, the user is having access. Let me do one thing. I'll clear the cache. I'll share this. Now let me go and check it. Control A5. Yeah, it came. I think it was not saved because of that. Now let's click on the application. Yeah, so here you go. Here is the application, countries, and the graph. So this is how you can build an application on your own from the Business Application Studio and deploy it on your backend ABAP repository as an application. So now, if you have any questions, I'll just make this up on to you. I'm putting into opening mode. If you have any question, you just turn it on and ask.
Karthik, is it possible to show the Gantt chart?
Unmute ourselves.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry, I missed the question.
Yeah, is it possible to show the Gantt chart?
Is it possible to show the Gantt chart in this? So we need to use format. Yeah, there is okay. I understand. There is one more chart that is available to here. So we need to check it.
Karthik, before that, can you please mute all, and then whoever wants the question, they can unmute and talk.
Okay. I'll Can you please unmute yourself if somebody wants to speak? Yeah, but do one at a time. Okay, don't overlap. Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, regarding Gantt chart, can you show an example in any of the sessions?
What we can do is, yeah, we can do it. I'll just take a code. I'll show you one example with the same report. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions?
Karthik, how do we find the version compatible with the backend system?
See, always remember, whenever you wanted to just check it, like in your system, if you want to like do one thing, whenever you open the Fiori Launchpad, there are two things you can do it. See,
can you please unmute yourself after the question, please?
Yeah. So, what you should do is, first of all, you should open up your Fiori Launchpad. Number one, there are two ways to do it. So, number one, if I go to the Fiori Launchpad URL, there is one shortcut code, Control Shift Alt P. Control Shift Alt P. Now, see this. Once you open up, here you can see basically it is giving you the all diagnostic options about your server. Okay, and here if you see, like, this is the basic model. like basic options it is giving it, like SAP UI5 on ABAP is 1.56.7. Okay, and even though we have used the application 1.71, but we have used the control which is along with our below 1.56, that it works properly without any problem. But sometimes if you are by mistakenly use some of the control which is above than this, then it will create some problem. So here you can find more information about the UI5 diagnostic part, where you can find out your different mode of diagnostic. If you want to do off your debugger, if you want to make sure your application should not be displayed your console part, or controller should not be displayed. So all those things you can control it. So the technical information always carry the UI5 version of your server. Okay.
So version should be lower than this one, right?
Version should be lower than this one. Technically, whatever the version you are using, that is okay. But the control, the UI5 control, let's say there's a control called a newly control called as color bar or something, that is not supported in 1.56. So if you use that, at that time application should not be opened up.
Okay, one more question I wanted to ask about the controls. Can we find out which controls are being used from an reference application that you showed? Like now we directly.
I think the voice got breaked. So you're talking about what are the reference control we have used in this application you are specifically telling, or you are saying like any application I wanted to find out the list of control used by just seeing it on the view? Is that what you're asking? Hello? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, now you are audible.
I think somebody just missed the question. I think what was the question? Like you are expecting to just see from the viewpoint of view, like what are the controls is used?
Might be his question is like you have showed a reference app right in the beginning, before we started our application. So in that in the reference application, what are all the controls or libraries they have used in that app?
Yeah.
Okay. You see if you wanted to understand like that, so I'll open up the application. So this is the application as a reference that we have considered. But if you so this is a Fiori based application. If you apply the same thing, Control Shift Alt P, what it is showing is they have built this application with the latest 1.98.0 with this build actually. So, but here if you wanted to understand what specific UI5 control is used, for that there is some plugins are available. There is a plugin available on the Chrome. There is something called if you just go to here, and there is some they call UI5 or something. I'm not sure whether it is still available. It generally gives you UI5 inspector and developer tools. If you add these two plugins, and whenever you go to your if you add to this Chrome, I'm adding this extension UI5 inspector and UI5 developer. One more extension is there, development tools. If you add these two, what it will happen is whenever you are running any application which is basically built in Fiori. Okay, so let me now go to the inspect mode, and what you can see here, you can see UI5. In this UI5, what you can see is what is the control they have used this in this. You'll get a glance of it, but you can't copy paste completely like that. But you can find out like what the things you have used. It might be the extension are not used properly and not loaded properly. So that is the work of this actually developer tools and this UI5. If you see here, if you see this screen, it is completely showing you basically by the code. See this? It is sap.aim.something is being used like that. So this is the work of that particular extensions to get you some information about your application. See this here. See sap.aim.core.c. This is exactly UI5 code, right? Icon tab.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So there are no standard
also.
Right? This we have to.
Yeah. Any UI5 Fiori application, and also you can see like this particular property. What is the icon head? What is the color? If you want to change it, no, you can change it also here. See this? I changed to a different color. Like this also you can do it.
Okay.
Runtime.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. So, is there any other questions?
Karthik, I have one question, please.
Yeah.
If I understood well, you said that with Ajax, we can use any API, even OData, right? We can open any OData or API with the Ajax, right? That's correct?
That's correct, yeah. Okay. That's correct, yeah. That you can do it, but technically, if you should not use Ajax in terms of OData, because OData already having a standard method of calling. But if you are using, like really you need to use some third-party APIs, because sometimes you need to use it. At that time, Ajax is much more safer. It is not going to create any trouble for you. But yes, answering to your question, you can put Ajax call inside your UI5 OData service also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Karthik.
Hi.
This application that we used as a sample, how is this one hosted using, like, on what is it? It's just a web link, right?
That's correct. It is yes. So what it is doing is, it is basically raw HTML5 application it is hosted as, but it is not connecting to any of our backend server to fetch data. First of all, understand that. It is just calling some random APIs to get the data, which is a very free APIs actually. So it is hosted in the Fiori Launchpad as a BSP application. That BSP application contains a sample UI5 code without any data.
I think my question was misunderstood. I'm talking about the sample, the one that you just had, like the free one available. So it's using the one that you were inspecting. Yeah, this one here. So how is this one hosted? Like this is using UI5 controls, but it's not connected to any SAP server, right?
I'll tell you, there are two ways of doing it. Let's say tomorrow class when I'll be showing it to you, I'll be also deploying one application, okay?
Okay.
The same application also I can deploy in the cloud. I'll not set any authentication. I'll be giving an open to all, okay? And there I would be having my own domain, but they have just modified the domain with their web dispatcher domain setup. They have given this name and given their own name and published that. So that application, let's say they have deployed this application in the cloud as a without authentication process. So you can hit this from anywhere.
Okay. And they just got a different URL.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
So the look and feel between our app and this app is a lot different. So here, did they use any CSS code?
It is there. I just wanted to just show you, like I wanted to just show you here how it is looking with the standard CSS here. In tomorrow's class, we'll spend some half an hour time to just modify the look and feel of the top of this application, because you should always just see the look and feel first on the standard application on deploying into a cloud. Then top of that you should put it. Otherwise, if you put it here and there, it might create some problem. Right? So as we are running on the top of the Fiori Launchpad, so here now in tomorrow's class, top of this we'll build some CSS layer and we'll make it much better actually. Like we'll be giving some transparent look and feel, and something like we'll be just showing it to you. Okay, so the motto would be like just to display the application, something like this.
And the code you are sharing it, right? The project you have created.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll share it within half an hour. We'll be sharing the code. So ultimately, we're going to build something like this with the look and feel and everything.
Now, Karthik, in the Ajax call, you have used the direct URL, right? And this URL might be having some production URL or test URL. So will it be same like we build for a backend system like
so generally it's a very good question. Generally what it comes is whenever we are going to build any application technically in Fiori, okay, so there are two things. One, if you're using any Fiori based application using the OData service, like whenever you're talking about an application using a OData service, that time you should not hard code the host and port of any of your like API. Why? Because this host and port would automatically consider from your this Fiori Launchpad itself. Because in the Fiori Launchpad of your production server, it should be production IP. In quality, it should be quality. In development, it should be development only. So at that time, we generally gives only as, let's say, slash, then the OData service name. But as here you are consuming some external API, and you are very much sure about it, this is the production system and this API will not changed. But that is only the production, that is only the external API works. It will not change based on quality, production and development. If it really change, then you need to definitely like put that production one and move it to production straight away. That will not work in development quality. But that will be very, very rare cases. The concept of API only is like it should not be specifically development for this, quality is this, is that. It will always will be a static URL which would be used in development, quality and production for a REST API concept. But if in your OData services concept, you need not to give any hard-coded host and port. It will automatically take it from your Fiori Launchpad. I'll show you in our upcoming classes actually.
Yeah, hi Karthik.
Hi, yeah.
Yeah. In user-wise, how the app is different as a user requirement, same app will appear visible as user-wise.
So you are expecting like the look and feel to be changed user specific?
Yeah.
So the only possibility in this is if you wanted to have a user specific, then only you need to just change on the theme level. You should just put some different SAP theme top of this your Fiori Launchpad, and you can specifically say this user having this theme and this user will be different theme. Understanding my point? Let's say you are an user from US origin and I'm a user from India origin. I'm expecting some different color combination or no color, or you are expecting some bit color on that. So I can create two different theme. One is the India specific theme and US origin specific theme, and that we can able to apply that theme specific to the users. That is the only possibility. We should not give them hard coded any CSS inside the application apart from the theme level configuration.
Suppose some tab is available, some tab is not available.
Okay, that was also talking about like customization also in the application level you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to have them sort of customization level on the application side, like displaying some fields, removing some fields based on some users, then always there should be an application service supposed to be called from the backend with some authorization, like this particular person is having, let's say, US authorization, US company code authorization, and it should be having specific conditions, like let's say if this person from US and having a managerial role, then display the approval tab. If the person is an employee, that information should be coming from a backend OData, and it should give you like the identification flag that this person should be access of what. That is how based on we need to take it.
Okay, it's mentioned backend OData. This all code is mentioned. Okay.
Yeah, so one service should be there. Let's say when I calling the application initial call, there should be a flag of the identity default value of the particular person. This person belongs to a managerial role or not. It's basically user information. If he is a manager, then we should display some few more tabs. If he is an employee, hide some tabs like that.
Okay, but in front end, what role? In front end?
Front end, nothing to be done. Front end only it will call the OData service, and based on that, it will hide and display some fields.
Okay.
It should be always coming from the OData. OData only deciding. Let's say you are maintaining one table in backend. Let's say Karthik is a employee role, and yourself as a manager role, and that data is picking up in OData service and giving it to me. Whenever I logged in, I can see mine is an employee role. So I should not get all the tabs. But when you are logging in, for yours, manager is coming as X, let's say. By that condition, you can write it in the front end. If it is coming as X, display these two tabs also. Like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, Karthik.
Hi.
Hi. Regarding that country tab, you have some icons of the countries, flags. How we can include that in our launchpad?
We can do it, but like
because we don't have that specific like of icons in our tab.
Yeah. So if you break down this particular country section, these guys is maintain all their icons in their own server. Okay, I'll show you. So they were in which server they have deployed this code. They have just put all the icons specific wise. See this? It is coming from their backend server, like where they have just maintained. But as we were not stored here in our FLP ABAP repository, that's what it is not coming. So how it is coming is, if you see this, let me show you this one. Just give me a minute. Sorry. So you can see like what is happening is, see this. This is basically they have maintained one folder with all the flags. See this. If I give it India here, the India flag is coming. Understanding the point? So
yes,
they have
got it.
Yeah, they have given all the PNG in a specific folder, and based on the name, it is coming in here. Let's say if I want to have a Brazil, see, this is how it comes.
Okay.
So what they are doing is they are making this as a static, and whatever the country name is coming, they are concatenating with .png, and it is coming like this.
Okay, so they are getting the content from the backend.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Karthik, for the mobile view, any other settings required, or will it display as a desktop version in the mobile?
How it will look is, I think the look and feel wise, if you see it should be responsive. Somewhere here and there you need to bit tweak it, but apart from that it should be responsive.
So in the mobile view, if I want to give some specific settings, then will it be any separate configuration for that?
No. Okay, you're talking about, let's say okay, I understood your question. You were saying like for desktop I need to have a different view altogether, and if it is a mobile I should have a different view altogether, a different look and feel. So there is a parameter actually, always remember this. There is a condition, sap.ui.device.system. So it always gives you where the application is running now, right now. See, right now I have choose a phone. It is coming as phone as true. See, now you should write a condition inside your application. If system dot phone is equals to true, then whatever the control you want to use it, put inside this. Visible, make it visible. And if it is desktop, make those particular controls as visible. This is how you used to write it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Karthik, in the standard app, it seems periodically it is fetching the data. So, are we going to do that part as well?
Which one in the standard app?
Yeah, I think there is some bar, the timing bar is happening, right? Maybe.
But I think I have checked it. This is not working properly. It is fractions of second. It is getting changed, and they have not written any code also for this. This is a random one, but we can pick this also. What it is doing, no, it is not performing properly. But we can utilize this control also.
Yeah, but we can fetch periodically from backend, right?
Yeah.
Looking.
I can show you. I'll show you that also.
So usually now we created one UEFI application, and that we configured in the Fiori Launchpad. so it's become, it's available in the Fiori Launchpad. So how we will give this to end user?
Definitely you will be sending how we will be giving it is, so this is the application is deployed on the Fiori Launchpad, right? What you should do, I have created a role in the PFCG, right? That PFCG role you should assign to the users. Like if you go here, see, let's say I would be having your user IDs. Now this user ID right now I have added myself and one of the user. I would be adding you in this, in the production system, let's say, or a development system. Once I give this, what it will do, whenever you open this Fiori Launchpad, automatically you should get this particular group available for you. This, and you can see all the applications here. So it's all about assigning the role to you.
Okay, so by application level, like the UFI application level, or will it be assigned in the Launchpad?
It would be assigned on the Launchpad. Like it should be, see what is the concept is, each and every individual application, whenever you are deploying to Fiori Launchpad, it creates a role, right? Now if I assign that role to someone from PFCG, then that is done.
Okay, got it. General authorization for anything.
Yeah, that's
got it.
Regarding the binding, the right now is using the binding for the in binding expression, elementary binding, and which
we will come one by one.
All bindings are covering this five projects.
Correct. Definitely. We'll cover it.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, Karthik.
Hi.
Actually, I have a requirement. Suppose at the end of the course, if we complete all the 5 apps, and if I want to load one of the app in one app, like inside one view, rather cross navigation, can we do that?
Yeah, we can also do that.
Like if I create a one view on click of a button, in that view that app should be open rather going to cross navigation.
Can be done. We can give it.
Like sub view kind of thing.
Yes. It should be one application. If you click in, let's say one application contains some 6 tiles, and each 6 tiles I'll be calling some 6 applications to be opened up. Yeah, that's
good. In the same view, or we will be doing cross navigation?
We can do both. We can either do like calling the specific application link, number 1. Number 2, do app to app navigation, the cross navigation you are telling, that is also considered.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll show you that also. If it's get time, we'll show it. Otherwise, I'll send you a proper document to get this done.
Yeah, you can do.
Yeah.
Karthik, what is the general practice of assigning, the tiles to the end users? If we end up assigning catalogs to the end users, then let's say I have 10 different tiles as part of that catalog. Every user in that group will get access to those 10 different tiles, right? They can add it to their dashboard.
Correct.
So, general practice in the industry, are they at the role level? Do they give catalogs at all, or specific tiles are given to the roles, which will become more cumbersome? But what do they practice?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question actually. So first of all, how we can manage it, because if you see the standard applications, most of the standard application contains one catalog, multiple tiles. So in that case, how generally we handle this situation, let's say as an example, this is any of the catalog if you consider it, having multiple tiles inside this. Now at that time, there is a 2 way of handling it. Number 1, if you wanted to give all access to the catalog throughout all the tiles, you can assign directly the role. Number 1, you should create one reference, a sub role, top of the role, and there is an option called creating basically a reference ID. You see this? You'll be creating one reference tile where you'll be just click on this and you can pick up any specific tile, and you can assign that particular application to a specific tile and give that role to that. Like, see, first of all, it is very, very clear that if you give the role specific to any catalog, then all the tiles inside the catalog would be given access. Okay, that is very, very simple, less straightforward. Now, if you are going to break down in this, then what the control you should give it, either giving up this role, the main role, you should create some sub roles specifically tile wise. But in that case, what it will happen is, it is again the concept of like there is one tile, let's say there is one catalog, this dashboard, I'll be creating one more catalog as a dashboard version 1 or something, and I can include only 2 catalogs. Similarly, like that, it is basically a subgroup of group or sub catalog of catalog. Actually, this is how it should be managed.
Okay.
But otherwise, like, you won't be able to restrict them. Only option is you should be manually go and add here to them, personalized that one, and after configuring it, you remove this configuration from them. They can't go and add it.
Oh, okay.
That is how we can do it forcefully, but that is not expected. Generally, what we do, we should create multiple application catalog, multiple tiles, or single tile should be available for that case.
Okay. Wouldn't that become like really, really cumbersome though? I mean,
yeah. It should be.
Okay. It's a pain that you need to take in order to maintain. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay. So I think thank you, first of all, thank you everyone, thank you for joining this session. So we'll try to make like more like livable compared to today's session. So I think we are planning to host some roll out some exciting applications throughout for your business also. Like in the next class, in tomorrow's class, we'll build one more application and we'll be deploying as a cloud inside the cloud platform. That should be one more learning for you. And then in the next session, like from the next week, we'll consider one more application with some complex scenario, creating a dashboard again, and some very, very important features like and a very, very commonly used features, you can say, because that would be used in 99% application most of the time. So like that sort of functionalities we are going to incorporate. Then in the next session, we are going to incorporate one standard application. There will be basically we'll be just displaying you some analytical application view, and also give you a very detailed about how you configure a standard application from scratch and how do you do it, how do you extend that options. So those things are going to show you, and then we'll take you some other like card operation based application, completely card operation based application, and the last one we're planning to have either something on the Fiori like on the Fiori element side to display some application and extend it. That is what is planned actually in this course. So again, thank you for joining this session from my side and from the Zapier side, and hope it will be helpful for all of you.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.